Hey guys, so it is, what time is it? It's almost 8, and my kids are in bed, and my husband is at work, so I thought I'd take some time to try and film something to get up. What did we do today? So our house, the exterior of our house is getting painted, and we're having some brick put on it. Well, the brick's already done, so we're just waiting on paint. But we had to order a new garage. Well, we didn't have to order a new garage door, but I wanted a new garage door because if the rest of the outside of the house was going to look new, then I wanted to have a new door. So we got up and went to, well, first we picked up groceries, and then we went to IHOP, and then we went to Home Depot, and we picked out new lights and a new garage door for the front of our house. And I am pretty excited about it. The only problem is, so most of you guys know I live in the Phoenix area, and it normally doesn't rain here, but we are in the middle of what is known as monsoon season. So if you guys have been paying attention at all to social media, or you know anybody in Arizona, specifically the Phoenix area, then you've probably seen these pictures or videos of walls of dirt coming towards people. And that's monsoon season. Well, yesterday we had a nice monsoon, which means we had some rain, but we also had a lot of dirt blow up. And it was really cloudy today, so the house didn't get dry. So they were going to paint my house today, and they couldn't because of the weather. So it's just funny to me, like, we normally have no weather, and then all of a sudden we have like a ton of weather, and that's the day that we were supposed to paint my house. But anyway, so yeah, so got that going on. And I guess I'm just gonna go through this because this is part of my channel. So we found out that we are only certified, or currently, to foster to adopt. So the process to get certified to adopt is similar to the process to get certified to foster and adopt. But apparently they're like two separate things in the state of Arizona. And we have expressed interest in potentially taking another child. So, I sent an email to this child's adoption worker letting them know, hey, we're interested in this child. We think that they would fit in our family pretty well. And so they asked for our home study, and my licensing agency was like, they're not adoption certified. It's like, great. Okay. So, we're going through the process of getting adoption certified. And one of the biggest differences is the state of Arizona charges you $1,200 when you get certified to adopt. And if you actually adopt through the state, then they give you that $1,200 back. But most people don't end up adopting. So you're just kind of out that money. Well, luckily for us, our agency will cover that fee for us. And so what happens is these kids, a lot like babies, you create a profile and you have a home study and you answer all your questions, and they submit it to the state, and the state determines whether to approve you for adoption, which we're already approved to foster and we're already approved to adopt. So I don't know, through foster care, so I don't know why we wouldn't be, but, and then that home study gets sent to the adoption caseworker for the child who is currently in state custody. And then they take all the candidates that are interested in this child, and they compare them with the child's needs to determine which family would be the best match. And ideally, in my opinion, you would want more options. Like, you would want multiple families so that you have multiple levels of ability to deal with different things that these kids may have experienced. So yeah, so just because you say that, like, hey, we're interested in this child, doesn't mean that you're going to be matched with that child. And it's just like private adoption, where you put in your adoption profile, and then the birth mother has the option of picking a family. So that's, right now, we've expressed interest. We have put in our application to be certified to adopt, and the particular agency that is working with this child was willing to accept our adoption home study before our license to adopt was approved through the state, because that can take a while. But this way they can look at our qualifications and what we're good with, and if we'll fit this child's needs, and then they'll determine if we're a good match or not. And then I think what's going to happen is they'll try and weed it out by profiles first, and then they'll meet with us if we make it through that first stage, to see kind of what it would be like, or what we're willing to deal with, or if we could handle, whatever potentially has happened. So, I reserved some stuff for our adoption party today. Took care of that for the girls, and yeah, it's been a pretty good day so far. So yeah, most of these videos are just for me to try and keep people informed about the different things that can happen in foster care. And I didn't realize that you had to be certified to foster to adopt, and you had to be certified just to adopt if you wanted to adopt a child that is a ward of the state. So I also found out, and I don't know if this is true or not, our licensing agency told us this, now in the state of Arizona, it's not like it seemed like she said it was a hard, fast rule now that if a child's in DCS custody, but they do not have an adoptive placement for them currently, then they won't sever parental rights. So if you have a foster child and you're in the state of it, and I knew that it was more likely that they wouldn't sever if there was, because our girls, we made it known when we first got them, we would love for them to go home, but if they can't go home, then we would adopt them. And so when it came time for the judge to make a decision in the best interest of the child, they knew that this child wasn't just going to be a ward of the state until somebody decided they wanted to adopt. They knew that we were willing to adopt. So I would just encourage you, if you're going into foster care, because I know this happened to one of the families that I watch on here, and they live in a different state, and they are really good people, and they have a lot of kids of their own, and so I don't think they I don't know. I just don't think that they really prepared for it, because most of the time in foster care, people reunify. And that's what you hope for as an adoptive or as a foster parent. And this particular family is very good at that. But, they had a situation where they had a child in their custody, or they had a child in their home, and the plan had been adoption, and they'd had this child for quite a while, and it was a very small child, and so the only family that it really knew was them, and they didn't want to adopt. And so then DCS had been looking for 6 months for a family. Well, they finally found one. Well, then it comes time for them to move the child, and the family that had him decides that they want to adopt. And of course, at that point, DCS was like, no, we're not letting this kid stay with you. They're moving. But that's just unnecessary trauma on a child. So if you're a foster, I'm not saying that everybody should adopt. I'm definitely not saying that you should hope to adopt out of the foster system if reunification is possible. But if you take a child into your home and they become stable and you love them, what's the point of moving them if they can't go home? And if you can't love this child, you may need to find something else to do with yourself. And love is not a feeling. If you're married, you should know that. If you're not married, but you were a child of someone else, then you should know love is not a feeling. Love is not a gushy thing. Love is action. It's the actions that you choose to take every day. So, yeah, I can tell you there were plenty of days when we got our kids at first, a lot of days that I wanted to just be like, no, I can't do this anymore. But by the grace of God, I was reminded that where are they going to go? Who else? Who else is going to take care of them? Who else's problem is this going to be? And so if the best interests of the child are to sever parental rights, but there's nowhere else for them to go, then they're just going to sit in this limbo. So So if you're fostering, I would just strongly encourage you to consider that route, that you can. And people think that you can't be okay with adopting and support the biological parents. Like, they feel like that's conflicting. And I think that's what happened with this first family. They didn't want to be biased. They didn't want to try and sabotage the system anyway. And that's great. But you can do both. You can support their biological family, and you can be willing to adopt them. And you can advocate for the parents, and you can advocate for their child, and it's possible. And if you make sure to express it in that way, that we want them to go home, and we love their family, and we want them to be able to reunify. If you can express it in that way, people are going to know your intent. Your child's team and your staff is going to know your intent. So that was a big tangent there. But all that, just, letting you guys know, like, there are a lot of options, and there's different situations, which I'm not going to go into right now, about how kids end up wards of the state. Because I know I just said, like, if there's nowhere for them to go, then they are less likely to sever rights. Well, like I said, it doesn't mean they won't, but although, like I said, from what I've been told, that has changed, and now they won't sever rights. So I haven't seen that in writing anywhere, though. So, and every case is different. But I don't know. These kids need permanency, and if you're willing to provide that temporarily, I don't really see the difference in providing it permanently. I don't. Because to me, like, this child that we're considering right now, I will advocate for her now, even though I've never met her before, even though I have no idea if she's going to be mine. I don't know, but I know that somebody needs to be. She doesn't have a mom, and I could be her mom. So if I'm planning on being her mom, that needs to start now. Our youngest, we were told we were only going to have her for 30 days, and here we are about to adopt her. So, I mean, I don't know. The minute that someone tells me that a kid is in my house, I'm their mom until they're not in my house anymore. And yes, I can say that because I'll be honest with you guys, we've never had a placement leave. We're about to adopt our first placement. Well, our first and second placement, I guess, if you consider her sister a second placement. We're about to adopt him. So I've never had one leave. And so I've had it threatened several times. I've had a lot of inconsistencies. I've had a lot of, I've been told it will never happen. You'll never get to adopt him. And now here we are doing it. So I don't know what it's like to have one leave. I do know that if my girls had gone back to their mom and it was positive, that, I would have been devastated, but I also would have been happy for them, because now we have to deal with a whole nother set of trauma. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents about all of that. Gosh, that's a rant. Okay. Well, like this video if you think that it is informative and other people should see it, because that kind of helps it get viewed on YouTube. And feel free to subscribe as we continue on our foster care / adoption journey, and we will see you guys later.